right. Hello, class. Thanks for setting aside time for my demo today. Today we're going to be reading an excerpt from a book called The Magician's Nephew. You guys know what a magician is?
No.
They're people who do magic. Do you know what magic is?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the title of the book is The Magician's Nephew. So it's about the magician and his nephew. The magician, his name is Uncle Diggory. Or no, I'm sorry, Uncle Andrew, excuse me. And his nephew is Diggory. And the scene we'll be reading focuses on just those two characters. And for those of you who don't know, The Magician's Nephew is the first book in the Chronicles of Narnia. It's a fantasy series. They made a few movies based on the books, though they didn't make The Magician's Nephew into a movie, unfortunately. For some reason, they skipped to the second book. So, anyways, we're going to read 3 pages from chapter 2 to give you guys a little bit of background on what's going on. Uncle Andrew, who's a magician, has these magic rings, right? And when you touch the rings, they teleport you, they transport you. That means like move. They move you to another place. And so Diggory, which I actually have a picture of the characters for you. So let me show you a picture of the characters. So this is Uncle Andrew. This was a sketch done of him. As you can see, he's kind of scary looking. He has the crazy hair and the kind of sharp eyebrows. But anyways, I picked this picture to show you because these are his rings. He has these magic rings that, like I said, when you touch them, you get like transported, you get moved to another place, and no one knows where you go. That's like the scary thing. No one knows where you go when you touch them. So that's Uncle Andrew. And our other character is Diggory, who is this gentleman right here. He's with his friend Polly, who isn't actually in the scene, but you'll see her mentioned. She accidentally touched one of the rings and she disappeared. So they don't know what happened to her. So the scene we're reading is about Diggory confronting his uncle about what happened. So in front of you, you'll see 2 pages. You'll see that on the first page, the page on the left is X'd out because we're going to skip that page. We're going to just read pages 23, and the page numbers are at the bottom, 23, 24, and 25. And so before we begin, I have a few things that I want everyone to keep in mind. All right, so we already talked about that. So there are a few tasks that I have for you guys. Does everybody have a blank piece of paper and a pen that they can use?
What?
A blank piece of paper and a pen?
Do you want a pen?
I have paper if anybody needs it.
So do we need to turn the people to you after class?
No.
So I
No,
can
it's-
write here.
Yeah, it's for your own use.
Okay.
Yeah, good question. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to take turns reading. Have you guys ever played the popcorn game? Do you guys know what popcorn is? Do you eat like movies?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a reading game called the popcorn game where everybody takes turns reading, and they'll read maybe like a few sentences or like a paragraph or something, and then when they're done, they call on someone else to read. So that way it keeps everybody involved. You look nervous.
Yeah.
Why are you nervous? It's okay.
I'm bad with reading, even with Arabic. I'm bad.
That's all right. I sometimes struggle with English,
Okay.
and it's even our native language can be tough. No, that's what I'm here for. And I recognize that the story might be challenging. I will say, to maybe help you feel better, is that it is a young adult or children's book. So most of the vocabulary isn't too hard. If you struggle, just tell me you don't know a word, and I'll help you. If you get stuck on something, I can give you a word, or I can take over for you if you're stressed out. So that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna start. So I'll start reading, and then I'll read about a paragraph, and then I'm gonna call on one of you. What else? So, right, your pieces of paper. As we are reading, I want you guys, and we're gonna read at a slow pace, so to make it easier for you guys to follow along. As we are reading, I want you guys to write down any words that you don't know. So if you reach a word and maybe you know how to pronounce it, but you don't know what it means, or even if you don't know how to pronounce it, just write it down, copy it down, and we're gonna compose a vocab list when we're done reading of words that we don't know, and we're gonna go through them and define them, so as to help you guys better understand the story and to expand your vocabulary. And I've given you one word already. So this word's kind of weird. It's not very common. You might never actually see this word again, but Sylvia and I actually had to look it up. So the word is Atlantean. Can everyone say it with me? Atlantean.
It's not like Atlantis?
Atlantis?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about that, like the island that sank into the ocean. Yeah, that's absolutely right. Yeah, it comes from that word, right? Like the beginning is Atlantean. Yeah. So it has a couple different definitions. One definition is something that comes from Atlantis, but the way that it's used in this story, we're pretty sure means something strong. So something that can like hold something that can carry something. So something sturdy, because it describes an Atlantean box in the story. So it's a box that's really sturdy and can hold something. So that's what I'd like you guys to do, and then we're going to have 2 discussion questions. You don't have to write them down or anything, because honestly I'm going to stay on this slide from here on out. So, but I do want you to keep these questions in mind. So as we are reading, I want you guys to think about, how do you think Diggory, who remember is the young fellow, how is he feeling in this chapter? How do you think he's feeling towards his uncle? And then the second question is, what would you do in this situation? So at the end of our discussion, I'm going to ask all of you, if you were dropped into this situation, what would you do? So, and don't worry, like before we answer.
Situation?
That's a good question. A situation. It's like trying to think of a word that I can use that won't be just as confusing. It's like an event. You know what an event is? Like when something happens or something occurs.
Okay.
So like you could think of it like, what would you do if this event happened to you?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, yeah, good question. Yeah, that's what a situation is. It means like an event that's happening. And don't worry, we're gonna talk about what's happening, so if like you're having a hard time following what's going on in the story, at the end, I'm gonna help summarize with you guys so that it's, 100% clear what's going on. So, we are at the, and Sylvia, do you also have a copy? Okay, yes,
Yeah.
Sylvia has a copy too. Everyone has a copy, okay. So we're going to start at the top of page 23. Do you guys know the word although? Do you guys see it up there? It's like at the top of the page. It's in, here, I'll show you guys. No, it's actually right here. Yeah, although. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys see it?
Yeah.
Awesome.
From although.
Yeah, we're gonna start there. That's why I was pointing it out. We're gonna start there,
Okay.
and we're going to read. Like I said, it's not even 3 full pages. It's like 2.5. And so, can we go over everybody's names again? So obviously, I'm Justin.
Hola.
Ola, that's right.
Lee.
Lee.
Rowan.
I'm gonna get most of your name. Rowan.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And Sylvia, of course. All right, so I'm going to start, and then I'll stop, and then I'll have someone else take over. All right. So although there was not really the least chance of anyone overhearing them. Do you guys know what overhearing means? It means like someone listening to you.
Yeah.
Like if you're having a conversation with someone, overhearing means like they're listening to you. He leaned forward and almost whispered as he said, "The Atlantean box contained something that had been brought from another world when our world was only just beginning." "What?" asked Diggory, who was now interested in spite of himself. "Only dust," said Uncle Andrew. "Fine, dry dust. Nothing much to look at. Not much to show for a lifetime of toil, you might say." Do you know what toil means?
Mm.
Toil is like work. It's like doing work, right? So like if you're toiling away at something, you're like working away at it. Like maybe you're tending to your garden or you're plowing a field. So toil. You might say, "Ah, but when I looked at the dust, I took jolly good care not to touch it, and thought that every grain had once been in another world. I don't mean another planet, you know. They're part of our world, and you could get to them if you went far enough. But a really other world, another nature, another universe. Somewhere you would never reach, even if you traveled through the space of this universe forever and ever." Oops. "A world that could be reached only by magic." Well, here, Uncle Andrew rubbed his hands till his knuckles cracked like fireworks. "Lee, can you take over for me?" And you can just read that one paragraph and then call on someone else to read.